Hello, hello. Happy Monday, November 17th, 2025. I am Manila Chan. Not right there yet is Ted Rall, but he'll be here. He's fresh off of deprogram. So, welcome to all the deprogrammers who are rating this stream now. I hope you guys stick around. On today's show, we're going to be talking about a bunch of other stuff that's obviously Ted and I try to differentiate the shows. We have producer Robbie back with us regularly now. So for better or worse, whether you guys like him or hate him, he's here because we need him, we love him. And all right, there's Ted, and of course the guest co-host, the most important,
for sure,
Clovis, is joining us. So all right, people were demanding for proof.
They
of
were.
life.
That's why I brought him on, so people wouldn't think that he was dead.
That's right. If you didn't see him on Friday, there's Clovis, proof of life.
Knocking over my mic.
Pretty Boy Clovis. That's his new name. Pretty Boy Clovis. So this is the TMI Show. I'm Manila Chan. That's Ted Rall. We are live Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So please be sure to hit the like, the follow, the subscribe, and the share button to help our little show continue to grow. Before we jump into the news, Ted, a couple tidbits from history. Today in history, the Suez Canal opens. 1869. Is that right?
It's that old, huh?
It can't be that. I don't know.
Of course it can be.
1869?
People used to know how to dig holes.
How about Danny DeVito? Birthday today.
1969.
Also 1869. 1944. I didn't know he was that old.
Yeah, well, he's not exactly. He doesn't look great. He never did.
Oh, I don't think he looks young, but I'm saying like 1944 is pretty old. Like I just didn't think he was born in the 40s. I guess I don't know. No, it's just weird to hear that.
He's not even a baby boomer. He's silent generation.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying like, oh, from the 40s, really? Also another dude. Birthday. Another birthday. Happy birthday, former National Security Advisor Susan Rice. 1964.
I wish she'd never had a birthday.
Oh, 1964. Speaking of Danny DeVito, his
devil.
buddy. God, Susan Rice. Then speaking of Danny DeVito, his buddy, Arnold Schwarzenegger, sworn in as governor of California today, back in 2003.
Turned out to be far better than anyone had any right to expect.
Right? Like I did not he wasn't too shabby. Like who'd have thought?
No, that's true.
And then today, Ted, this is a big one for me. The first known case of COVID-19 traced back to a man who visited Wuhan, China on this day in 2019. And I specifically remember this story for me.
2 weeks later, I got COVID.
In 19?
Uh-huh.
And not 20?
I sure did. Yeah, December 2nd.
You got like the very, very first before they even knew.
I got. COVID. Yeah, I was spending a month in Los Angeles at the time, and so and LA is obviously, if not it's certainly one of the gateways to Asia. So I remember reading that I forget which, if between 10 or 20,000 Chinese nationals were flying every day from China to the United States. So one of them or more of them brought COVID to the United States, and I was in LA, and I thought the smoke from the wildfires was afflicting me. I didn't know.
Oh wow!
I'd heard about this like respiratory thing in China, but
so did I. I heard about it. I heard about it in November, and this time in 2019, because I have friends in Asia, and that they were saying there are these weird murmurings, right? Like in cities, and news travels fast in China when there's 1.4 billion people, Ted. Like people be talking.
Yeah, they're chatty people. Yeah.
And word got back to me over here in DC, and I was telling the newsroom, I was like, yeah, there's something weird happening a health story in Asia. So right before Thanksgiving, so right around this time, the word had gotten back to me, and I said, I think this is going to be a big story. And I said, we should get ahead of this. Like, we should, and who listens to stupid little old Manila? But me and lo and behold, an Asian producer, Ted, it seemed like we had our fingers on the pulse of what was happening in Asia, and nobody gave it too much thought. They're like, "Oh, silly Manila, you're Asian American. Like, what
do you know?
What do you?
It's like it reminds me of like the time that I had a car that was having problems in California. It kept overheating, and my mechanic gave me advice what to do, which I totally ignored, and as a result of that, the car totally caught fire, and then later, everyone I knew in California was like, "Wait, your mechanic is a Latino dude who wears a hairnet. You ignored a Hispanic mechanic? What the fuck is wrong with you?"
That's right. That is right. Yes, I'm Asian American, and yes, I'm multiple generations removed from the motherland of China, but I am still an Asian female who has friends and relatives in Asia, all over Asia. And word be traveling quick. And at that time, nobody knew how to quantify what was happening. And then by December, there were weird like hospital deaths, if you recall, in 2019.
Of course.
And then hospitals were getting locked down. There were weird things happening. And everyone was kind of like hush hush. So people were talking to friends and family on back channels and unofficial ways, right? But then it wasn't a national emergency there yet until it was like right after the new year. And then murmurings
and then we
here.
all know what happens next.
Then we know what, like, wow. So here we are on that grim, weird anniversary. All right. So with that, let's jaws it, and we'll get to our first main topic, because producer Robbie is just champing at the bit to get to this.
He's chomping. You chomp.
No, we've had this discussion. We've had this discussion before, Ted. It's actually champing at the bit.
Is it really?
It is. We've had this discussion, and you had to look it up, and you clearly didn't remember. The actual term from equestrian world is champing.
All right. We apologize to all you horsey folks.
Is champing at the bit.
Right.
But it's acceptable to say chomping, because I think Robbie's more aligned. I think Robbie's more aligned with
horse culture.
No, MAGA culture is the next story. So, but I think we get it too, Ted. Like, we get it, I think.
Sure. I think so.
All right. So as a spectator of MAGA world.
Well, and as a supporter of MAGA world, for you.
You
voted for Trump.
Yeah, I voted for Trump, but I supported I guess I would define it now as more MTG style, and it's not Trump. It was MTG, like, who's kind of upholding this. But Robbie can probably better explain. He can better quantify. So a high-profile feud, as you guys probably heard, between Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene and President Trump is exposing new fractures within the Republican Party, raising fresh questions about Trump's hold over the MAGA movement he built. Greene, once considered one of Trump's most loyal allies in Congress, publicly criticized the president's foreign policy positions over the weekend, calling them not America first, and warning that Trump's escalating attacks against her could actually endanger her life. This dispute erupted after Trump abruptly withdrew his endorsement of the Congresswoman Friday night, labeling her wacky and accusing her of retaliating over his refusal to support her long-term political ambitions. A day later, Trump escalated further, calling Greene a traitor on Truth Social. And then talking on Sunday to CNN, Marjorie Taylor Greene said the accusation crossed this dangerous line. She said, quote, "He called me a traitor, and that is so extremely wrong. those were the types of words used, or those were the types of words used that can radicalize people against me and put my life in danger, end quote. Now, when pressed about her
She's not
own
wrong
past
at
rhetoric,
all.
yeah, no, she's absolutely right, especially in, like, hello, Charlie Kirk, anyone? When pressed about her own past rhetoric, including a 2020 post featuring an image of her holding a gun next to a Democratic congresswoman, I mean, a picture of, Greene acknowledged wrongdoing. She said, "That's fair criticism. I'm sorry for taking part in toxic politics. It's very bad for our
I
country."
give her mad props for that, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know, like,
I've been
honestly,
Team Marjorie
like,
lately.
everybody fucks up, everyone makes mistakes,
Yeah,
but, like, you know, the only thing you can do, you can't go back in time, but you can recognize your errors and
totally.
change your behavior, assuming that
And she
it
was
sounds like
a
she intends
rookie.
to. I don't know if she will, but I hope so.
She was a rookie back in 2020. She's got some years under her now, and I think she understands the gravity of the position she holds, especially now that she's reached national fame. So Greene also took direct aim at Trump's recent praise of the H-1B visa program, which we know Robbie's fired up about, which allows companies to hire skilled foreign workers. Trump argued that the U.S. must bring this talent to stay competitive.
Bullshit.
Greene fired back that such views betray America. I can pull up that soundbite a little bit later when I get a chance, when Robbie's on. She fired back and she said, "I would love to see Air Force One be parked and stay home." She said, despite the clash,
Yeah,
Greene
I see her
continues.
point. I do see her point.
Despite the clash, Greene continues to enjoy strong backing from Republican leaders in her home district. Local party chair Jim Tully said criticism from Trump, quote, "does not change the fundamental truth that Greene represents her constituents with clarity, resolve, and integrity." I would argue that's true. She's wildly popular in her district. Like, people love her. Like, they call her like the real one over there, like in Georgia. Like, they love her. Um, and Marjorie said the rupture with Trump stems largely from the fight over releasing the Epstein files, which he's done an about face on in the past, like, 14 hours. Literally, like.
No, Manila. Donald Trump has always wanted the
Mhm.
release of the Epstein files, and Donald Trump
Mhm.
always will want the release of the Epstein files until he doesn't, in which case he will never have wanted the release of the Epstein files.
Yes.
Oceania has always been at war with East Asia. Eurasia has always been our close ally.
Yes,
Any memory
that.
to the contrary is anti-oceanic.
Right. Like, is it Instapot or Instant Pot? The collective memory says Insta, but I went and looked at the label on my pot and it says Instant.
Wait, what are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking
Mandela
about.
effect.
Oh.
The Mandela effect.
Mm-hmm.
Trump is trying to Mandela affect us right now. Like, I've always been for the release. What are you talking about?
I was going for the
And people
Orwell thing.
say I was going for the Mandela,
Mm-hmm.
because I always wear my unseen imaginary tinfoil hat, and you could show Trump a video of him saying, like, "This is bullshit. Like, let's move on. There's nothing there. There's no there with Epstein." And now you could show it to him and he'll be like, "No, I've always been for the release. I've got nothing to
By the
hide."
way, Adrian, thank you for the comment. Loved how MTG signed off on one of her tweets with, "Thank you for your attention to this matter." MTG totally ripping off Trump. Although, in fairness, you know who else does that? Newsom's been doing that for months.
Oh my God.
My
People are
boss used to
upping
have,
their
in the
trolling
80s,
game.
my boss used to always have me sign every
Thank you for
business
attention.
letter. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So it's very old.
Oh man, people are really upping their trolling game. I kind of dig it. So at any rate, so she's emphasizing that she does not believe that Trump is implicated. I back her on that. I think I don't think there's anything there for Trump to worry about, but I think,
Probably not.
I mean, we'll get into that once Robbie pops on, but there's a lot of parts of this to peel back. So Representative Thomas Massie warned Republicans that opposing the release would mark them permanently. Quote, "You will have voted to protect pedophiles. The record of this vote will last longer than Donald Trump's presidency." Amen, Congressman Massie. The dispute highlights a growing ideological and generational divide inside today's Republican Party and signals that loyalty to Trump is no longer guaranteed, even from the inner circle. So, yeah, Robbie, I know you got lots to say. I don't even know where to start. Hold off on the H-1B thing because I have the soundbite of Marjorie talking about it. But talk about the Epstein thing first, because I'm with Massie on this. Trump is over here trying to smack down Marjorie, Massie, and Rand Paul. The only 3 lawmakers, I think, with any guts to stand up for what I would argue was what Donald Trump said MAGA was.
Yeah, well, it's true. I mean, so this is multifaceted. This is more than a single issue. It's bigger than Israel. It's bigger than debt. It's bigger than war. It's bigger than foreign aid. It's accumulation of all of these things. And really, what if you want to just boil it down and just get the bumper sticker? It really is your life better now than what it was 10 years ago? The answer is no. And so Trump, when he ran in 2016 and then in 2020 and then again in 2024, promising to address these issues. So, I mean, what he did is that he picked up the mantle of the old Tea Party, the old Ron Paul revolution, and he ran with it.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, is that before, basically, I think what happens with Ron Paul, he was ahead of his time. Their message was
absolutely.
right.
Ron or Rand?
But Ron Paul. I think that the message was right, but the timing was off. Like there wasn't enough pain yet. Now you have a problem where it's quantifiable. Even with the BS numbers that the government's giving us, you can see that your paycheck does not keep up with the cost of living. You can't afford to pay your bills,
and it's not like a slow winnowing away, right? It's not nibbling away now.
Oh, no, it's going up
by
like
leaps and bounds. Yeah, I mean, it's just like there's you can't avoid it. It's not like climate change where it's subtle and gradual. It's not the boiling frog effect. It's like you're just like, holy shit, right?
Exactly, and that's what's going on. And so Trump, he ran on this thing called "Make America Great Again." And then, well, what does that mean? You have to kind of break it down. It has a few core pillars. One, it's kind of like what I talked about on Deprogram. The government's responsibility is to its people. Like the American government's responsibility is to the American people. The responsibility of the British, the German government should be to their people. The problem is that for generations now, all these respective governments have been looking overseas and just going all in on foreign affairs, nation building, adventurism, building empire, spending all this money for debt. Yeah, all these things. Meanwhile, the core of your nation, your people, are literally withering away to the tune of 100,000 Americans die every single year from drug overdoses. That's a crisis of any other nation, but our government ignores it. Trump ran to address these issues, just like Mondani ran to address the cost of living in New York City. That's why he won.
I don't know if Donald Trump knows that he ran to address these issues. I don't remember him ever talking about the opioid crisis, for example. I feel like that was more by implication.
Well, if you seal the borders, by definition, you clamp down on the fentanyl coming in from Mexico. Plus, he famously said Mexico's not sending its best. They're sending their rapists and their drug dealers, all of which were true. In his kind of squirrely way of saying it, that he said that he was going to address these issues without actually saying it. He implied it without, putting the stamp on it.
That's right, and that's the genius of vague messaging.
Of course, it is. Mm-hmm. Well, people actually believed it, and in this last election against Kamala Harris, Trump overperformed with blacks and Hispanics and minorities pretty much across the board because everyone has this thing in common where they have to eat. It's crazy. Well, if you are running on a populist message, then don't be surprised when people actually want to start holding you accountable to that message. Where Trump screwed up is two major things. Well, there's three big mistakes that he made. One, during his first terms, when he said he wanted to do away with due process and be able to just lock people away and take away their property without any kind of due process at all. That's when he lost me. Second,
which property is that? Wait, I don't know what you're referring to.
Red flag laws. We talked about
Okay.
You just go in, you take the guns first, you go through due process second.
Right.
Well, sorry, that's a violation of the Constitution. You cannot deprive me of property or my liberty without convicting me in a court of law. That means you have to at least charge me with a crime. And Trump said, no, we're not going to do any of that stuff.
And Donald Trump never even hasn't even touched. Well, neither party has this whole what's that thing called where the cops pull you over and they can steal all your shit even if you're not convicted of anything. You don't know.
I know you're talking about that bail thing where they just seize your property.
Yeah, they just take your car or whatever, even if you're never convicted of anything.
Correct, and then they get to keep it.
No, but Trump though,
civil asset forfeiture.
Thank you.
Yeah, asset. But Trump ran to address it, and he's the only one. So he was Mondani before Mondani was Mondani. Okay, that's the issue. And then Trump, when he gets elected, he promised to drain the swamp, all these other things. That means you need to have transparency, otherwise you can't drain the swamp. He ran on those things, and then
I have Marjorie's soundbite here if you want to touch on this, because this is her like.
I hope it's not this is it. It's not that important, but go ahead.
Look, the immigration.
This is why he's afraid. I think this is why Trump is afraid. And I'll say something that's kind of radical about. I mean, it's kind of out of left field, but I think he's terrified that Marjorie Taylor Greene is suddenly becoming this more polished politician over the last 4 or 5 years. And suddenly the MAGA movement has shifted. The populism has shifted in her direction. And I think he's afraid that she might be the heiress to MAGA, to populism, and take a run for 2028 and take this out of the jaws of victory for JD Vance.
I don't think so, and here's why. Now, I'll say this real quick, and I'll be quiet, you can run it. I think what you're seeing is that it's both political parties who are terrified of the fact that you have the likes of Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Greene talking to the likes of the Young Turks, whereas they're appearing on each other's shows. And so it's showing this merger, this blend of the populist left and the populist right. Trump is the one who's going out and attacking, but I guarantee you the leadership of both political parties are terrified of this. But go ahead and run it.
Listen to what she says.
My dear fellow Americans, I'm introducing a bill to completely eliminate the H-1B visa program, which has been riddled with fraud and abuse and has been displacing American workers for decades. There will only be one exemption in my bill, and it will allow for a $10,000 per year cap on visas issued to medical professionals like doctors and nurses who provide life-saving care to Americans. However, even this $10,000 per year cap will be phased out over 10 years to allow us time to build our own pipeline of American doctors and physicians. My bill will also restore the original intent of the visa, for it to be temporary. These visas were intended to fulfill a specialty occupational need at a given time. People should not be allowed to come and live here forever. We thank them for their expertise, but we also wish them well so they may return to their home country. My bill will take away the pathway to citizenship, forcing visa holders to return home when their visa expires. In order to build our pipeline of American doctors and medical professionals, my bill will also prohibit Medicare-funded residency programs from admitting non-citizen medical students into their programs. Just last year alone, there were over 9,000 doctors in the U.S. who graduated from medical school but were left without a residency placement. Meanwhile, in 2023 alone, there were over 5,000 foreign-born doctors who received residency spots. This is entirely unfair, and it's America last. My bill.
I'm going to pause her there. But I mean, the whole 2 minute, 2.5 minute soundbite you can hear on her Twitter, her X feed. It's posted there. And yeah, I couldn't find anything I disagree with in that statement. Like, that's, I think, is a pretty clean cut bill, Robbie. I think that's.
Yeah, I agree.
It's been exploited, the H-1B program, by all these businesses that continue to not only shaft American workers from getting a job, but then you have the freaking president saying we don't have smart people here.
Yeah, calling us stupid.
and then you hear stats like
saying,
this.
I guess, is he arguing that he doesn't have enough? He's been hiring over 600 like low skill workers at Mar-a-Lago and his other Trump properties. I don't think you need super genius Americans to like clean a bed, change a bed. And so, I mean, this is about theft. This is about grift. It's not about anything else.
Well, no, at the Smith's grocery store, Ted, here in town that I took you to, they have got H-1B visa holders right now working in the deli because you can't find qualified Americans who are able to run a cash register.
Right.
Or slice the ham.
Yeah, it just doesn't exist because they're obviously too stupid. Americans don't know which end of a knife to hold. I mean, that's the issue.
Those are the jobs that used to belong to kids in high school like me. Like, I worked at Taco Bell in high school, and then I moved up to In-N-Out Burger. But those jobs are no longer fulfilled by high school kids during the summer anymore. I see grown-ass adults at Taco Bell and In-N-Out when I go back home to California. I don't see kids anymore.
Yeah, do not fucking start with me. Like, if someone doesn't have the skill, like, as far as Americans are concerned, I don't want to see anyone imported into the U.S. to work here as long as we have an unemployment rate above 0.0001%. When that ends and we have a true shortage of workers, by all means, bring them in. But everything that MTG said is 100% correct. I would have added the STEM workers too. There's tons of people who are, graduated. There are people from MIT and Stanford and Caltech who cannot find a job in the United States, and they have to go overseas looking for work. It's fucked up.
Yeah, and
we want to answer the viewer question here. Thank you for the donation, USC. I wonder if that's for Trojans. If so, go Trojans. Do you think past MTG did too much to damage herself to where she could never be considered legitimate, or is the attention span too short? I'm going to go with the latter. That's a good question. I'm going to go with the latter. I think we are a country that just moves on. Like, we live on TikTok videos and YouTube shorts now, and we're like, boom to the next. Do we know that? Do people kind of remember that she was like super wacky and crazy and full of stunts in her first year or two in office? I think we do have that back memory, but I think we're mostly pretty forgiving culture. If you look at like how we have treated celebrities like Britney Spears, you build them up, you tear them down, make them crazy.
Jeffrey Toobin is in the New York Times. He's on CNN again. Like,
he's employed again?
Yeah, I mean, he's not. He lost his gig at the New Yorker once, and that's the company where he, Toobined his Toobin. But that's not. But still, my point is, it was definitely not a. He's rehabilitated, right? Completely.
Yeah.
Anthony Weiner could run.
Yes.
Look,
he works for Disney
Spencer,
now, Ted.
If he wanted, could be governor of New York again.
Ted, Anthony Weiner works for Disney now. He has an ABC radio show.
Yep.
That's a Disney property.
I think that y'all are both partially right, but I think y'all are missing something very important. And this is something that's pointed out by Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson went on record, and he did this while he was at Fox News. And it's one of the reasons he got fired is that after he became a Christian, on the air, he said, listen, he said, I was wrong. He said, I supported the Iraq war. I cheerleaded it. Hundreds of thousands of people died for absolutely no reason at all. And I was wrong. And I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, he did say that. He said it repeatedly, not just not just glossing over it.
Oh no, multiple times. And if you watch his show right now, like he'll talk about one of the things. People ask him, how do you know if someone that you're interviewing is honest? He said, if someone's willing to apologize over their wrong and make a mistake, that person's the real deal, because it takes a lot of guts. And listen, I've been there. I mean, once upon a time, I was a card-carrying, Sean Hannity-watching Republican, and now I despise that man. I hate his guts. And it's because I woke up and I realized that I was being sold a bill of goods, just like Tucker was, just like these other people were.
Yeah.
So when it comes to Marjorie, I think what you're looking at is you are seeing a massive shift on the right. And I think that, and this is indicative of that civil war is going on. Like right now, you have Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro saying, "Sit down, shut up, racist. You don't get to have an opinion." And then you take it to another step where Ben Shapiro on a podcast last week said, "If you can't afford to live where you live, maybe you should just leave, go somewhere else." My question is go where? The entire country, the economy in the entire country is withering away. It's dying. The middle class is gone. Whereas his pancake wearing ass can go wherever it is that he wants because he's a millionaire. And he talks about how stupid that retirement is. And Trump is parroting this guy along with Lindsey Graham, along with all these other people who never admit to ever making a mistake at all. Where you have people like Tucker, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and other people who are reaching across the aisle, say, "Listen, I was wrong. My ideas changed. I grew up. I did this thing called mature. I screwed up, and I asked for your apology. I apologize to you. I want your forgiveness."
Right.
That is huge, and that's what they're all missing.
That goes a long way. I think that goes a long way in American culture. Being able to, I mean, for all the viewers that are outside the U.S., that is a thing in the U.S. Like when you have a mea culpa and you point out your flaws and weaknesses and you apologize for it, Americans are actually very forgiving as a culture. I'm not saying Washington, because Washington is not representative of the people, but as an American culture is actually very forgiving. And we're willing to move past things as a culture.
You don't necessarily have to apologize in this country. It's just better if you do. I mean, look at Bill Maher. He never apologized for being pro-Bush and pro-torture. Was
he? I don't remember that.
Oh, yeah. Arianna Huffington never apologized for being a right-wing Republican before she migrated over to the left. She just sort of started talking that way.
Right.
That's the way they do it. And but it is definitely, for people like us who pay attention, it's going to be hard for us to think that you have any integrity if you don't,
Right. If you don't have the mea culpa.
If you don't fess up.
There's still, to this day, Ted, there's no mea culpa from the New York Times for pushing us into the Iraq War. There's never, that's when I lost my dreams, my hopes, my goals of working for the New York Times way back then in my very early 20s when we were in the throes of the Iraq War, because I couldn't believe that the newspaper was actually advocating for it. Like the paper of record, as it were, right, 25 years ago, was advocating and like cheering on Paul Wolfowitz's ideologies. I was going, are you kidding me? And to this day, 20 plus years later, still no mea culpa. And we know that where to lay the blame, and still no mea culpa from the editorial board, from any of the writers. Nobody.
Well, you know why?
No.
You know why, don't you? Do you know why? Honestly, it's because they're accused of, they are scared of, no, because they're scared to death of being called anti-Semitic. If you admit that the United States destroyed Iraq because Israel wanted the United States to destroy Iraq, and then if you go out and if you point out on September 11, 2001, that Benjamin Netanyahu on live TV said that this attack was a good thing, if you point that out, immediately what happens is that you get attacked as an anti-Semite and everything else. And Ted, you hit it on the nail on Deprogrammed. When you said that, you can no longer, that criticizing Israel now is no longer a pill of death. That's true. As much as they want that power to still be theirs, it's not the case. That's the issue. I'm like, no, there's a reason why you have Tucker Carlson, who's the number 2 podcast. Soon he'll be number 3 because we're going to overtake him. But he's currently the number 2 podcast in the world behind Joe Rogan.
No, I thought it was behind Candace this past week.
Maybe
Candace was number 1.
It could be either way, but it's like way up there, like super, just way up there. He points out that you have these influencers like Officer Tatum, who's like the biggest cuck, stupid, retarded bastard on the internet. and then you have Mark Levin who has no talent, and then Ben Shapiro and his squeaky little voice, all just smashing the anti-Semite button. It used to be, especially in Republican circles, where it was literally an article of faith. If you deny Israel, you denied the Trinity. That's no longer the case. And people are waking up and they're starting to ask real questions like, why are we giving all this money to a country that has a higher standard of living than we do?
Well, and what Tucker Carlson said, which frankly, I hope he stole it from me because I've been saying it for decades. Israel is inconsequential. It doesn't matter. It has no strategic purpose to the United States whatsoever, as it has no natural resources. It's got rocks. It's got it does not have an important geostrategic location in the world compared to other U.S. allies. It is, for example, we get along great with Egypt and Jordan. They're in the same neighborhood. We don't need Israel. Israel has 9 million people. It's the size of New Jersey. It isn't important. We could never hear back from Israel ever again, never get our calls returned. It would not matter.
Agreed. And we've got an ad. I'm going to put it up for y'all so that way y'all can do y'all's thing, and I will go back to producer land.
Yeah, this is something obviously that is near and dear to Robbie's heart because he's outside of the coastal cities like me and Ted. We have a different reality where we are. I mean, it's God honest truth. It's just
inflation. Inflation hurts working class people more than it hurts the rich. That's the reality. Higher prices affect people that are on a limited income, and that's
not that Ted and I are rich.
But no, but listen, what I'm saying though. For example, and I'll have to go because I got the ad up. If you're making $30,000 a year, the price of eggs and milk and bread matters. If you're making $100,000 a year, not so much.
Yeah,
that's the difference.
Isn't as bad. All right, I'll read the ad for us today, because we're always talking about AI. All right. So looking for smarter ways to browse and enjoy your favorite content without ads? Get the Perplexity Pro bundle with Rumble Premium for just $19.99 a month when you sign up before December 31st. That's normally a $29.99 value. With Rumble Premium, you'll get an ad-free viewing experience across all your devices and access to exclusive premium content, no interruptions, just the videos and streams you love anytime, anywhere. Plus, Perplexity Pro boosts your productivity with unlimited research, unlimited uploads, exclusive member perks, and access to the latest and most advanced AI models for faster, smarter answers every day. Save 30% on this powerful bundle. Head over to rumble.com/premium before December 31st to sign up and unlock your premium experience. All right. Thanks for that, Robbie. All right, Ted, next topic. This is for you. This is a TED topic.
Yes, it is. Gun ownership in the U.S. is changing in some unexpected ways. A recent NPR investigation found that a growing number of gun buyers come from communities that are actually typically not associated with guns. Liberals, people of color, LGBTQ people. Common motivation, fear of civil unrest, political unrest, and well, frankly, right-wingers. Dr. Charles, who asked only to use his first name, is one example. A black doctor from Maryland, he recently bought a handgun after he got alarmed by government actions like the arrest of a foreign student who criticized her university and the forcible removal of a U.S. senator at a Homeland Security briefing. What I'm talking about is protecting myself from a situation where there may be some kind of civil unrest, he said. Gun clubs and training organizations are seeing large spikes in interest from liberals. The Liberal Gun Club, for example, reported that its membership rose from 2,700 to 4,500 in just a matter of months, with training requests going up by a factor of 5. The concern is about supporters of the right wing who think that they've been given permission to run roughshod or worse against people they don't like, says trainer David Phillips. The shift disrupts century-old stereotypes that gun ownership is for white, rural, conservative dudes. The data and interviews suggest that urban liberals and minorities are buying into the idea that firearms offer a line of defense. How did we get here? A lot of interviewers cited Trump's re-election in 2024 and the rise of aggressive partisan rhetoric. For LGBTQ buyers, they have personal fear of anti-trans legislation, misinformation campaigns, and hate crimes that have accelerated their impulse to get to arm up. The White House rejected the story of this framing, saying that it merely reflects Americans exercising their Second Amendment rights, not fear of, say, them. But for many in the newly arming communities, the decision to buy a gun signals a profound sense of vulnerability and a belief that the institutions designed to protect them aren't enough. The shape and logic of gun ownership is shifting, and so are the motivations behind it. I like this story so much. So I have a friend.
Robbie too. Good.
Yep.
I have a friend. We will call him Jack because his name is Jack. He's an editorial. He's an editorial cartoonist, and he came home one day to find that someone had invaded his home and was holding his wife at gunpoint right in front of him.
Oh my gosh!
And so he swore not to let anything like that ever happen again. And he liked to call himself America's best armed liberal. So he then immediately acquired a car gun, an office gun, and a home gun, and who knows what else. And he was just like, that's not going to happen anymore. And the point is that, like, you don't have to be conservative to see why you might want to be, armed. And yeah, and so.
Yeah, but what about the argument that I wouldn't say all liberal, but people at least that vote Democratic, they tend to always say that it's the guns that kill people, not the people that kill people. Are they then moving to the other?
I don't think that applies anymore. Kind of like how the last story I was talking about with Trump. I think what this is, it shows us a few different things. One, civil unrest is obviously increasing in the country. The crime is
and
going
zombie
up.
takeover.
Things are just kind of just falling apart. People are able to kind of smell that.
Yeah.
Also, if you think that the government is authoritarian, because it is, and I'm glad that people on the Ted's on the aisle are starting to take Robbie's advice. Let's not let them have a monopoly on force. There is a reason why Black Lives Matter. It never made any sense to me that they would advocate for gun control. If you think that the police are a radical oppressive force, then why in the world would you advocate then for the disarmament of the population? You would advocate for the exact opposite. I'd love to see this happening. And for another reason, it could be a good.
Didn't the Black Panthers advocate for that? Weren't they like arm up?
100%.
Yeah, of course it did.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'm hoping is that these liberals who are going out there buying guns, when they find the right wingers to train them how not to shoot themselves, that they start talking to each other and realize that this guy's not my enemy and vice versa. Anything that you can use to spark up conversation is a good thing, and a well-armed population is a polite one. If we start stacking corpses for criminals, maybe the crime rate will go down. Like those youth that are there in the Navy Yard, if you start stacking them, they'll stop.
You got a question in the Rumble room, Robbie, from Peter. Peter says, Americans need to know, did Robbie take Ted to the range when Ted visited?
We did not. We did not, because we just didn't have enough time. But that's something that next time 100%. That is one of the things that's going to happen.
Can you just squeeze rounds off in the woods in Montana? You can? Yeah.
There's 1 million people in the entire state, and the state is bigger than Germany. Yeah, that's not.
Wait. What? There's 1 million people in the entire state?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't
Does it have the lowest population density in the country, or is that like Nevada?
That's Wyoming.
Oh, okay.
We have the second lowest.
Less than 1 million? And no, really? Yeah. I can't even fathom that.
We just got our second congressman.
Oh, you used to have We
had one.
What's that called when there's one congressman per state? There's a term for that.
I don't know. It's just called having one. I don't know.
there is a term.
Oh my God. As of 2025, the population of Montana is approximately 1.143 million people.
Yeah.
In other words, about half the size of the population of one borough of New York City.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? I never imagined the population was that low. So
really?
So you can just
you didn't think that there's no big cities in Montana, right?
No.
Well, I thought Helena and Billings were big.
No.
Helena has a population of about 40,000. Missoula has 80,000 people. And that's the closest city.
When I grew up in Kettering, Ohio, a suburb of Dayton, okay, that like you never heard of. 70,000 people lived in Kettering, okay?
Then I guess I've never been to a place with that.
I mean,
sparse
before
pop. So you can just go off to the woods and squeeze off rounds, and you're likely to not hit anybody.
Yeah, I mean, no, you don't be stupid. You don't have a backstop because you're using a rifle. You know, you don't want to just take out some farmer 3 miles away.
That would be bad. Yeah.
I mean, you want to use some headshoes. That's what I'm saying. Ted, for your liberal friends who want to go buy guns, I'm all about it. Just find someone just to teach them how to shoot and be responsible.
Right.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Gun ownership is a very, very
Robbie,
good thing.
You better preach that carefully, because all the California liberals, as you say, are moving to Montana.
I will confirm that, like in Afghanistan, which is a heavily armed society, seriously, people are very polite.
Yeah, of course they are.
You know, I mean, and I mean, I'll never forget like riding on an airplane, a small Afghan airplane from Kabul to Herat. And there was an American NGO guy sitting next to me, like sweating bullets, because Afghans were climbing on board, and they don't even bother with the metal detector that the U.S. gifted them at the Kabul airport. They just come on the plane with like their RPGs and their AK-47s and throw them in the overhead, right? And the guy was sweating bullets, and I'm like, dude, you got to relax. And he goes, how am I going to relax? I'm like, dude, no plane is ever going to be less likely to be hijacked than this plane.
100%.
Same when I lived in Arizona, when I was anchoring out there. I had just moved from California. I had never lived in at that time. It was still very much a red state and an open carry state. I'd never seen people, like including ranchers, right? I'd never seen people with gun racks on the backs of their trucks or open carry walking around the shopping mall. I'm like, what is
Manila.
This is Yuma, Arizona, 310 to Yuma. That is still a thing there. Or
Manila,
I
got it. I used to do cartoons for the Las Vegas Review Journal. And I used to go in every now and then whenever I was in town, I'd pop in to see my editor. The first time I visited the office, and you're familiar with newspaper and media offices, I walk into the front lobby and I see several journalists come in, and they had handguns strapped to their ankles, and they took them off and checked them in at the front desk, and I was like, huh. And so I talked to my editor, and he's like, oh yeah, well, he goes, actually, our reporters need guns because they cover the mafia. And I'm like, yeah, but does anything ever happen? He goes, oh yeah, they get shot at all the time. He's like, I expect them to return fire.
Here, the Canadians, it's absolutely hilarious. The Canadians that come down, because here in Kalispell, we have the closest target to the Canadian border. So it's like a 90-mile trip from the Roosevelt crossing down to Kalispell. Well, Montana is an open carry state, and the Canadians go apoplectic whenever they see people walking around with their sidearm strapped, or now it's hunting season, walk into a store with a rifle strapped on their back. Like,
wait, Canadians don't do that in rural areas like Saskatchewan?
Yeah, I thought they did.
Well, you got to remember, these are Canadians who are coming from Calgary. Like, these are Canadians who are coming out here to shop. And most of them are actually they're of South Asian descent. The majority of them, like they're Indians or Pakis or whatever. And so they live in these big urban centers. So they come down, just like, oh my God, like, have I gone back to the home country? What is this? And it's like, welcome to Montana.
Well, I mean, that's how I felt. That's how I felt in Arizona back then. Like that was back in the Jan Brewer days, where she's confronting Barack Obama on the tarmac.
The same people are not scared. I'm scared when I see a cop with a gun. I mean, that's far more dangerous.
I was scared
far
all
more
over
likely
the
to be
place
used
in
against
Arizona
me than like a.
Look, it was just jarring. That's all it is. Coming from liberal Los Angeles, right? Like, it was just
because
there's
no gun violence in LA, so that's very safe.
Exactly, which is why I had to check myself, because I grew up in the hood, and I knew kids down the street that were, armed to the teeth. Kids, 15-year-old kids.
Yeah.
And here I am in Arizona as an adult woman over 30 years old, and I see grown-ass men walking with sidearms or trucks with, like the rifle mounts on the back, and I'm thinking, how is this normal? Like, but it was just a mind thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when I realized it was
you have to just
people,
get over it.
people left and right in both parties there, and there were Democrats, because I mean I work in news. There were Democrats there that were also like open carrying, like, and that's when I started being okay, obviously, because I lived in that environment that mentally people were nicer. Like people weren't flipping the bird, people weren't honking, people weren't. Grandma was walking around. I mean, like holster and everything, like grandmas at Walmart, like it. Wow, and people were nice to grandma. Just saying.
No, I agree. But
So,
we should probably
big
we
fan
should
of
probably
this.
move
All
on.
right.
But no, I love to
We'll
see
move
the gun ownership though. I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
Just
I'm for it.
if you're a lefty, just learn how to shoot your guns. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. Don't kill your neighbor because you're an idiot. Don't be retarded.
And definitely keep it locked up.
Your gun's a tool.
Keep it locked up. And
No.
and don't get it tweaked. That people think
Manila.
like
that cabinet right there, that's where my guns are. There's no lock there. The lock is
children aren't
the lock is common sense.
children.
The lock is. I taught my son how to shoot on an AK-47 when he was 4.
Your kids, that's different. Like they grew up with it. Do you know how many accidental gun deaths like people are, because they're not trained, their kids aren't trained, so that's a different environment. I'm saying for the masses.
Okay, let me say this
they
before we
should
go.
Keep it locked up.
When I started teaching Courtney and Thomas how to shoot, we went down to the clay pit. I took 2 watermelons.
Wait, what's the clay pit?
It's a gravel pit, just where people just get gravel to put on driveways because it gets snow and icy. So you put gravel down so that way you get traction. Well, I've got I had my AK-47 and I shot the watermelon. The watermelon disintegrates. I said, if you shoot your sibling, that's what happens. There's no fixing that. That person's dead.
But the reality is
that's what
there are.
Listen to me. Parents
a lot of gun deaths.
It's because parents don't respect the guns. They don't teach them.
Correct.
Listen to me. Take your kids out. Shoot a watermelon. The red goes everywhere. It's gnarly, and then you personalize it. Say, if you shoot a person, there is no fixing this.
Right.
That's how you fix that problem. Responsible gun ownership
right
is not
here,
a lock.
Right here in Virginia. Right here in Virginia, the case of that first grade teacher that was shot. You know, Ted, that big story. She sued the school because whatever. That's a different case. But different conversation to have. But the point is, her 6-year-old kindergarten student brought mom or dad, whoever, somebody's handgun to school and shot her, and she almost died. Like she came within an inch of her life, like hitting her heart within an inch. That teacher just won this big lawsuit against the school district. But the point is, that little boy had access to that firearm. So and Virginia also is an open carry state and whatever, but obviously the parents of that kid did not teach that kid
correct
how to respect that firearm.
No, I don't know how it was. I don't know how it is for you, but y'all's 2 kids. Maybe mine are just genetically superior because they're half black. I don't know. But whenever I told my kid, hey, don't touch something, it always made them more curious about wanting to touch it. Whereas if you demystify the gun and if you put a certain amount of fear and respect into it, they have no desire to touch it. Whereas if you say, hey, no, don't touch this, don't touch it, it's bad, don't touch it. Well, what are you teaching them? You're teaching them that you're a moron. You have to teach your kids.
Yeah. And to Blake's point in the Rumble room, Blake says, here in Arizona, criminals definitely take into consideration that people are often armed. I almost always am, although I'd like to live in an imaginary world where that isn't prudent and wise.
No, Look, it's sort of like burglars, right? I mean, in New York City, burglary still remains a major problem because people think even if burglars don't like people. They don't want to encounter people at home. Yeah. But if they do, they're not that worried about being shot. They should worry about being shot. Really.
Yes.
Your New Yorkers need to up their gun game and start shooting people who are pushing people.
They can. It's totally legal now to own a gun in New York City because of the Supreme Court decision.
Good. Hey, New Yorkers, go buy your guns and know how to use them. Yeah,
I'm actually kind of surprised that there's never been, I guess, I expect a gun store to open in New York at some point. I assume it's been tied up by red tape, but when they do, it's going to be fucking like lying around the block.
Well, taxes too, because there's not a lot of margin. So if you have a high tax rate, that's going to eat into it.
But you can buy one. You can obviously buy one from another state and just drive it across the border.
Just bring it in. I mean, there's nothing illegal about it.
No, it's totally
all right.
legal.
Let's
I'd
move
love
on.
to see
Next
it.
topic. Yeah, big fans here. All three of us. Look at that. All three of us agree. Get yours.
Don't let the
Second Amendment,
conservatives
folks.
have all the fun.
That's right.
Shooting is fun. Tell you what,
Shooting is fun.
And if you lefties, y'all come up here to Montana, I will take y'all out. I'll teach you how to shoot, and we'll have a great time doing it. And y'all realize I'm not a Nazi.
And
Let
me tell you, like, despite all the yoga and Pilates I advocate for, which help de-stress, let me tell you how relaxing and like how great you feel after you squeeze off a few rounds at the range. It feels freaking great. Like feeling like girl Rambo. You're like, yes, like, oh, yes, girl. You're telling yourself, yes, girl, go girl. Like, and you feel great after. So women, go out there, try it, get trained. Big fan. All right, next topic. All right, this one's a quickie. So Ted, I did not write this. I'm reading from the article, so I don't want anybody to say Manila's like fat shaming, because I'm not. You're way worse than me on
Wait.
heavy pose.
I gotta say, I feel like you have been guilty of fat shaming on this show.
I'm not fat shaming. I always say I have like very heavy friends, and I think they can be healthy. It just depends. But this is not. I'm just reading it as is from this article. Okay, they called it heavy news.
God, Jesus
meaning
Christ.
like because it's serious, but that's what they meant was serious news. Okay, so maintaining a healthy weight can lower the risk of a number of chronic illnesses. We know that, including cardiovascular disease and type 2 diabetes. And it's also good for your brain. New research shows that having too much body fat might play a direct role in the onset of Alzheimer's disease. So previous research identified...
What?
Yeah.
Karen, what do you mean by that? What?
Yeah, new research shows that too much body fat might
But Letitia,
play a role.
I don't understand what you mean.
So previous research identified a link between obesity and dementia, but the exact mechanism and the role of fat wasn't exactly clear. Scientists from Houston Medical collected subcutaneous and visceral belly fat from both obese and lean people getting elective abdominal surgery.
They didn't just go on the bus and just start chopping into people's stomachs.
down in Houston. No, so here's the funny thing is the article actually points out that they collected belly fat from both obese and lean people from elective surgery. So what that means is,
did they have to
collect the vanity?
They have to get like 10 lean people's bellies
Ted, there's people that are obsessed with getting every little fat ounce off of them because they like off their six pack because so they
much like myself.
So researchers took that fat and from people that are considered clinically obese. So they compared those two types of fat from lean people and obese people. The researchers focused on extracellular vesicles, EVs, which not to be confused with the car.
Right.
Extracellular vesicles, tiny particles released by fat tissue that carry fats and other molecules around the body. The key takeaway here is that these EVs, I guess they're EVs, Ted. They move things around, right? So it's like a car, kind of, but in your body. So, okay, call them EVs. These EVs can cross the blood-brain barrier and signal the brain to form amyloid B plaques, which is a distinctive harmful feature of Alzheimer's. The EVs collected from the participants with obesity sent out a different mix of fats from the ones in the non-obese patients.
I can't say that that's shocking.
So these different fats in the obese participants appear to speed up plaque formation. More research is still needed, but future studies may focus on how drugs, of course, because how can big pharma get involved, or other treatments can disrupt these ED signals to help lower Alzheimer's risk in obese people. So it never dawned on me, Ted. Like, it sounds like what this article is saying is that obese people are at greater risk of Alzheimer's than like thin, lean people, because even lean people, I mean, everybody has body fat, even the most elite of athletes, like Olympic athletes, you need body fat. Like, let's establish that baseline. Your body needs body fat. You need fat. Like, your brain actually needs it. Your brain needs cholesterol to actually a certain level to run properly. Everybody needs a certain level of fat. Women, like female bodybuilders, Ted, some of them go too extremely lean, and that actually boosts their natural testosterone levels, and they stop having periods, and there are other malfunctions in their bodies because they're too lean, right? So there is a baseline of fat that every person needs. But this article is saying your signals from your kind of fat can change with the higher your scale number is, which is fascinating. I've never thought about that because my grandmother had this.
Although there's like now new thinking in terms of, dementia being related to other stuff. The current thinking now, the newest thinking, and I think the most credible, is that by the time the plaques appear, it's already too late, and that it's that's a symptom. It's not a cause of dementia, or maybe it's a cause of dementia. But what triggers the plaques are what are at issue, and that's more likely to be a genetic predisposition. I mean, as with so many diseases, there's the predisposition, and then there's the trigger. Right. So you might have a predisposition to getting lung cancer if you smoke, but if you never smoke, you don't get lung cancer. Conversely, you don't have the predisposition, but you smoke, you don't get lung cancer. It's like that. And so, I mean, we're able to isolate more and more. We're going to be able to do gene splicing in no time. We're going to be able to CRISPR that shit.
You think
right
in
out.
our lifetimes, Ted? Because it sounds like you and I are both at risk of losing our marbles, like fully.
Yeah, totally end up like drooling idiots. It's true.
Dude, I am fully, like, I expect that to be in my future. I don't know at what point.
I wouldn't go so far as to expect it, but it's definitely a possibility.
But I'm also Miss Worst Case Scenario for everything. So, like I said, I am planned for the zombie apocalypse, Ted. I am ready in my garage. Okay, so I expect to turn into my grandmother tomorrow. It can happen. It's in my family, or just not wake up from a neuroaneurysm, a burst blood vessel in my brain that runs in my family. So I thought this news was interesting. So, what signals are my fat cells sending out if I stay thin? I don't know. I don't know. I guess we'll be able to test that very soon. Soon you're going to be able to like have these at-home tests to tell you what those if you can do a at-home fecal test now, Ted.
Yep, which you can.
You've seen those commercials, which
can. Drop your shit in a box and mail it off. That used to be illegal.
Ted, we should also note that the side company attached to that fecal poop company, the testing company, I bet are the same people that that send out the ding dong ditch poop baggies at people you hate at their house.
That could well be it. But I mean, I have to admit, can you imagine, like, you go to tell your parents, like, who sent you to school to study biochemistry at like Harvard, and you're like, good news, I just raised $500 million for my startup. The bad news is it's shit in a box. All right.
Somebody came up with that idea.
Shit in a box.
And it worked.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's like, look, honestly, it's a lot more fun than shitting in a bag and then dropping it off at like at Quest Diagnostics or whatever.
Oh boy.
I mean, or even anything else. I wish you could do that for like sperm testing. So I had to do sperm testing. Here, I'm going to go ahead. This is a TMI show. I'm going to do the TMI show. So I don't know. I assume this hasn't changed that much, but basically they told me, okay, so you're going to have to jerk off into this test tube, into this cup.
But at a facility.
No, they said like it's got to be at Quest Diagnostics within 30 minutes. And you put it and you keep it. It has to stay. You keep it like put it under your clothes and keep it warm. It was winter. Keep it warm by your chest, and then you jerk off. And then, so I had to do this. So it was such an indignity. Okay. So I would, I mean, so my friend who went through IVF, he did it at NYU Weill Cornell Medical Center. And he told me, and he was like, how's it going to be? And he tells me this story. He's like, oh my God, he said, it was amazing. He said he walked into this beautiful whack-off room with leather sofas with a view of the East River. And they had he said they had an exquisite collection of every style of pornography you could possibly imagine, whether in print or on video. And I was like, really? Everything? And it's like, did they have Over 40 magazine? And he's like, yeah, they have it. I'm like, oh, that's my favorite. And then he's like, what about you? He goes, oh, I went for Blacktail. And so I'm like, okay, you're a Blacktail man. No judgment, no flaw. I've been known to partake in Blacktail. So anyway, he said it was great. It was like sumptuous and luxurious. He made sweet love to himself. And it was like right there. And then when he was done, he just like handed his sample and left. And I was like, well, that sounds lovely. But that's not the deal Ted Rall got. Ted Rall didn't get that deal. Maybe my insurance wasn't as good. So what what I had to do, they're like, you get it to the lab near you. Well, the nearest lab, I lived in a fairly remote, like not that great of a subway place. So it was like sort of like I had to wait for my then wife to be out of town. I was not going to do this with her around. So I waited for her to be somewhere else. And then like rubbed it out, got it in. And then like I raced down to the subway with this thing attached to my chest, right? And of course it's like Curb Your Enthusiasm. Literally like we have delays on downtown A, C, and E service. No service between 125th Street and 59th Street.
Oh no.
And I'm like, fuck, my baby's inside. So I like go up to so I go up to the street, right? And it's like there's no taxis. Finally I get a cab and I'm like looking at my watch, right? It's like I'll make it with 28 minutes after jerk off time, after ejaculation time. I run into the Quest, and there's the longest line that's ever been in a Quest Diagnostics lab, like in the world. It's like there's like 18 people, and there's like this slow ass lady at the front, like, well, I'm like, so I'm like, what do I do? And I was like, what would Larry David do? And I'm like, my babies are dying. This is my sperm. My jizz is in here. You have to take my jizz now. It's going to be dead in 2 minutes.
No.
Loudly.
You shouted?
Yeah, I said my jizz. I used the word jizz. People are covering their kids' ears. And like, I'm like, my jism's in here. And it worked.
Oh my God.
And they took it.
Well, okay, so you bumped to the front of
the
line.
So at least you can't say that I don't have lots of dignity.
Well, look, you got bumped to the front of the line for them to handle. I cut
the line. Yeah, which in New York is no easy thing to do.
Well,
people don't take kindly to it.
I would have, if I was the Quest person giving you the directions, all of this a long time ago.
Go to the front.
No, I would say if I were like the Quest person, like, I don't know, management saying like, here's how, this is the kind of direction you should give them. So put it in the whatever container that you're supposed to have, right? Like a sanitized, whatever container they provide, but then put that, if it's a bag or whatever, put that in like one of these, like a like a vacuum, one of these
like
hot
a thermos.
coffee. Yeah, to keep it warm.
That's a good idea. Or maybe if I just had like a little Zippo lighter and just sort of
No, because you can boil then because then you
it.
boil. You don't want to boil your little dudes.
Yeah.
But I would say
Or
like
one of those Boy Scout things, those camping things where
cup.
you break the stick and it like.
But that could overheat it too. The
Mhm.
sperm is a very delicate thing, Ted.
And a many splendored thing. Yeah.
I can't believe
And then I had to do it again. I had to do another test. And that time I was like, they were like, oh, come in this time. Because I told them how horrible it was. And they're like, you can come in. And I'm like, oh, great. I get to use the East River View room where I'll be able to look at Queens.
Yes.
I can jerk off looking at Queens and Brooklyn, right? Look at the Kosciuszko Creek. It's like, no. Or Roosevelt Island. It's like, no. It's like, this time they're like, I get like this like really mean woman who had like more hair on her face than I have on my entire body. And she's like, puts me into this room. It's like a barber chair. And it didn't have, so it was so tight, like the armrest came up so tight that in order to masturbate, as a male, or probably as a female, I would imagine, but you have to, be able, there was no room for my elbow. I couldn't get my arm down to the side. So I'm kind of like doing this kind of like.
This is another Curb episode.
Yeah. And it was totally like, this is, and it was like, do you have anything to help? And the lady was horrible. She brings me this like sticky paged, I forget what, but like a Penthouse June 1987.
I bet people are like, right? People are like, Tad, why did you just use your phone? This is pre.
And then she was like, and when you're done, she goes, she's like, and when you're done, stick it in the Lazy Susan. So there's like a metal, stainless steel Lazy Susan, right? And I'm like, okay. So I'm like barely trying to work it out with the whole, elbow situation. And then she's knocking at the Lazy Susan, like, are you done yet? We need the room. I'm like, no. And then like, fuck off, leave me alone. And then she's just, keeps coming back. Like finally the third time I go, if you're not going to come in here and help me yourself, shut the fuck up.
Would you really have wanted her to?
No. I was bluffing.
All right. Last story. We got to go to the last story. This is a Ted.
It was
Reed.
a terrible experience. Terrible.
And we should point out, Ted, that we were way ahead of this.
So much for the magic of life.
In the summer months, I just want to say that TMI, Ted, we should pat ourselves on the back. We talked about this.
That's true. We gave this to you. We could, if you listened to us, we might have saved your life. All right.
And you know what, too, Ted?
Go ahead.
Another thing on MSNBC today or NBC Now, their streaming network.
Yeah.
You know what they were talking about today?
MS
with
Now,
you and I covered.
I think it's called. Yeah.
Oh yeah, whatever. Oh, I thought they took the MS away.
It's no, you're right. Yeah, it's NBC Now.
Something.
Yeah, muscular
I think it's
sclerosis.
just NBC Now or. Whatever. It's being sold. It's a property that's being sold like a bastard child.
Old piece of shit. Yeah.
So they are just now, Ted, when you and I covered this story probably 3 weeks to a month ago about the box office problems, about how no one's going to the movies anymore. And it's at the lowest number since 1997. Hello. TMI Show covered that literally almost a month ago. It's just now on MSNBC Now. I'm going to say MSNBC Now is not very now. It was 3 weeks ago for TMI. Yeah.
Fair.
And this tick story is no different. This is like 4 months ago for TMI.
All right. Well, here we go. Off to the races. Public health officials and medical researchers are sounding the alarm after confirming what they think is the first documented death from alpha-gal syndrome, a severe red meat allergy triggered by tick bites. The case, involving a guy in New Jersey whose identity has not yet been released, marks a sobering milestone in what scientists describe as one of the nation's fastest growing but least understood allergic conditions. Alpha-gal syndrome occurs when the Lone Star tick, increasingly common along the East Coast and spreading westward, transmits a sugar molecule called alpha-gal into the bloodstream. Lone Star tick is also common out there in Robbie's neighborhood in Montana. In certain people, that molecule triggers an immune reaction that makes the body violently allergic to beef, pork, lamb, dairy, and even some gelatin-containing products. Symptoms range from hives and swelling to plunges in blood pressure and anaphylaxis shock hours after eating red meat. In this case, the guy suffered a catastrophic allergic reaction after unknowingly consuming meat containing alpha-gal. He collapsed and was pronounced dead shortly thereafter at a local hospital. The autopsy, combined with clinical history and blood analysis, confirmed the presence of high alpha-gal IgE antibodies and ruled out other causes, leading investigators to conclude beyond the shadow of a doubt that the responsible cause of death was allergic reaction. Experts say the case underscores the growing public health risk posed by tick-borne illnesses, not only Lyme disease, but emerging immune disorders with potentially life-threatening consequences. Reported cases of alpha-gal syndrome have surged in recent years, with the CDC estimating that hundreds of thousands of Americans are probably now affected, and of course, almost none of them know it. What makes the condition especially dangerous is that the reactions are very quick, occurring 3 to 6 hours after you eat meat, not immediately like most food allergies. That delay makes the allergy hard to identify, so even if you're sick and you seek medical care quickly, the doctor might not really understand what's going on. It leaves many victims unaware of the link between their symptoms and their meals. Doctors urge anyone experiencing unexplained nighttime allergic reactions, particularly after eating meat, to seek testing. They also recommend taking precautions against ticks, using repellents, wearing long clothing outdoors, checking the body thoroughly after spending time in wooded or grassy areas. Researchers say the New Jersey case is a tragic warning that alpha-gal syndrome is not just a medical oddity. It can be deadly, and it could be something that might affect you.
Yikes. Yeah.
Not good. Not good.
Ted, as we mentioned, Robbie says we have to do an ad, and he's going to pop that up. But not too much to say about this other than that's a warning, because we've talked about this on TMI, and we talked about how climate change has contributed to this, because this is not something that was a kind of tick that was northerly. That's why it's called a Lone Star tick. It's from Texas, I think, right? Other than it has like a thing that looks like a star on it.
I think it's due to the appearance, not the geographical location.
Yeah, I think it came from the south, though. It's not like a northerly tick.
No, it's from warmer climate, but with climate change, it's been making its way north.
All right, we got one more ad before we say goodbye. All right, one more here from our sponsor. Okay, so you've probably noticed Rumble is growing fast and it's not slowing down. They're building a real alternative to big tech that puts creators first and actually protects free speech. And now there's Rumble Premium, an easy way to upgrade your experience. With Premium, you get ad-free viewing across the platform. No pre-rolls, no interruptions, just the content you came here for. Plus, Premium members unlock exclusive content like bonus videos, behind-the-scenes drops, and more from all your favorite creators. Right now, Rumble is offering that for $10 off an annual subscription. Just go to rumble.com/premium. Use the promo code STUDIO at checkout. That's rumble.com/premium, promo code STUDIO. No ads, more freedom, and content you actually care about. That's the deal. All right. So that, I think, will do it for us, Ted. That's a lot of news you can use. I'm like terrified of like
it irritates me, by the way, when they say like, when there's always like what should you do if this happens to you? And they're like, and there's always in every article, well, the best way to avoid the problem is not to get it in the first place. No shit, Dick Bean. But like, I mean, fuck, don't fucking tell me stay away from ticks. Duh. Don't eat meat. Duh. I mean, it's like I do eat meat, but the point is, it's like, and nobody likes ticks. Hell, when I was hanging out with Robbie, a tick landed on my neck and bit me like right in front of him. I was like, what's this? It looked like a Lone Star tick. So, but I've
Oh
eaten
my
meat
God.
subsequently. Yeah, I got it right away, right as it was biting me, and it was bleeding though. So the
But
point
isn't
is,
that Lyme disease when like ticks bite?
no, I mean no, not at all. I mean, ticks bite you all. I mean, I used to live in Eastern Long Island, which is like Lyme disease central, literally the highest concentration of Lyme disease in the United States. Manila, you would find this fascinating. So on the eastern end of Long Island, the Hamptons, someone did a study. They learned that 90+% of all couples in marriage counseling, because their marriage was in trouble, or were in divorce court in that part of Suffolk County, Long Island, had undiagnosed, one or both of them had undiagnosed Lyme disease. Lyme disease makes Lyme disease makes people aggressive, irritable, easily angry, and it destroys people's relationships. They lose their jobs because they yell at their boss and their coworkers. They lose their friendships. They get
So it makes people like irritable and aggressive?
Yeah, it's the guns, germs, and steel argument, basically, about how a lot of the stuff we think we're doing, it's just his personality, but not really. It's you're affected by some kind of physiological thing. It's this little bug fucking ruins people's lives. So like I got bitten by ticks more times than I could count. I got swarmed by nymphs one time in my backyard. And like the point is, and they bite you like crazy. Getting bitten by a tick, even there, you're probably not going to get Lyme disease. You should take doxycycline prophylactically. And what you do is here's more news for you. If you find the tick, kill it and put it on a piece of tape and put it on your wall calendar. And then if you develop any symptoms later, like a ring around the tick bite, then you take that with you and they can test the tick to see if it has Lyme disease. But really, if you get bitten by a tick, just take doxy. Like, just take it. Nothing bad will happen as a result of that, unless you're allergic to it.
Oh, that is news you can use, because as a Californian, I didn't have that kind of exposure to bugs. And I saw
Californians
fireflies.
Now have all sorts of crazy shit that they didn't used to. I have a friend a cartoonist friend. She was maybe about 10 years ago. She was in Southern California. She's in a hotel. She puts on her jeans and she gets bitten by a brown recluse spider.
Oh my God. Well, we have
those. They're nasty fuckers.
Well, we have those, like spider, like other creepy crawlies. We have those. We have snakes. We have bears. Like we have those. But I'm like the little small things, like ticks.
A spider
ticks and bed bugs are not a problem. No, that's something you can like see.
Dude.
But yeah, he's little, but not tiny like a tick or tiny like a bed bug. Like I've never seen in real life a tick or a bed bug.
Bed bugs are almost invisible.
Oh,
I mean, basically,
like documentaries have been,
or like body lice. They're basically almost invisible.
Ugh.
Got them in Afghanistan.
Oh,
good times.
I've seen like on, there's this there's this Instagram channel that my little boy likes. There's Clovis. I think it's called something about like microscope or something about microscopes, and you could see microscopic world, right?
Oh, and
I saw skin mites.
Skin mites are terrifying looking.
And I was like, oh my God.
Well, insects are terrifying, right? Like ants, flies.
They look terrifying when you see their faces. Like they look like fucking
they're
demonic.
So alien and evil looking. Yeah.
Oh my God. But then when you realize that you have actual mites on you right now, as I'm talking, we have them all over. There are bugs on you right now. I don't care if you just got out of the shower. 100%. It's on you.
No doubt.
They're on you.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't know how they survive when you swim. Like, does Michael Phelps have them?
They must. And he's quite hairless. He's very shaven, and
So he claimed that the body hairs slow him down. I call bullshit on that, but all right.
I mean, he shaves and maybe elsewhere that we don't see.
I would imagine
mosquito covers.
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah, they say that a lot of Olympic swimmers, the difference between silver and gold is just a little bit of pubic hair. It just slows them down, causes drag.
I don't know. Whatever Michael Phelps did, it worked for him.
By that standard, they probably shouldn't wear swimsuits, right? I mean, that must really seriously slow you down. Wouldn't it be faster to swim nude?
I'm sure. I bet. Really,
or the penis, like
in all
the
seriousness,
the penis could cause drag.
So you guys should tuck.
You got to go to or trans that shit.
Oh my god!
Anything for the cause.
Anything for the gold, Ted. Anything for the gold.
Just want to be on that Wheaties box.
God. Horrible.
Snip, snip.
Anyway, there's more news you can use right there.
Mm-hmm.
There you go, guys. Happy Monday. We'll see you tomorrow.
Indeed. See you tomorrow.
Here. Adios, amigos. Bye.
Bye, Manila.
Bye, Ted.